about normalization of trauma. I think this is really important. We really forget about how much our society wants to normalize trauma, because if we do normalize trauma, then we don't interact with it, right? So if I am someone who wants to get control over you and I'm able to normalize that trauma for you, whatever I'm doing, bullying you, hurting you in some way, emotionally ripping you apart, if I can just say, everybody does this, right? If I can just say that to you and you accept that as just, yep, you're right, this is normal. Everybody has this situation. We all deal with that, right? If I can get you to accept that, then I have gained a massive amount of power over you. So if you think what I'm doing is traumatic, you're going to call me out. But if I can normalize and say, hey, everybody does that, you're basically just going to leave me alone, which is exactly why I can now continue to cycle and hurt you and do whatever the heck I want, right? And then also, you, by normalizing it, you don't see a need to call me to greater action. And I'm obviously not going to call myself to greater action because this situation works for me, right? So I try to explain to people normalized trauma is untreated trauma, right? And so when you normalize trauma, what ends up happening is there's just an entire society that's walking around super traumatized and feeling as though that is how life is supposed to feel. Like, I'm just supposed to feel like this. I'm supposed to feel powerless. I'm supposed to feel as though I am just at the whim of every emotion that I get, thrown at me. I'm supposed to feel out of control at all times, right? And that is really, really a tough place to be. This is where I think the anxiety, the collective anxiety and the collective depression that we deal with as a society is so high. Honestly, because we are being told at every turn, yeah, that's normal. You should be treated that poorly by a boss. Or, yeah, my mom treats me that way too, so that's normal. Okay. So what is it going to take for someone to look at you and say, okay, that's harmful? What you just described to me is extremely harmful and it's extremely concerning. I get that your entire employee pool thinks that that's okay to be treated that way, but it's not. It's absolutely terrible. And then we get the bigger systems that are literally benefiting from normalized trauma. And I was just talking to one of my coaching clients the other day, and we were discussing how a partner, right? But this can be anything. This can be a big system, a work system, a religious system, a community, whatever. But in this case, it was a partner. So the partner was basically giving them the illusion of control. And I want you to think about that for a second. If you have the illusion of control, yet they have eliminated the choice or the actual autonomy to navigate your experience of life however way you want to, right? So if, for example, if I say, yeah, sure, I don't care if you go hang out with your friends, and then when you go out with your friends, I call you every 20 minutes, I ask you where you are, I track your GPS, by the way, as a therapist. No, that's a whole nother story and a whole nother video, but yes, the whole GPS tracking thing, no. Okay, anyways. But the partner's tracking them on GPS and all of this stuff. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, they're giving you the illusion of control. They're saying, sure, go out with your friends, do whatever you want. And in the same breath, controlling every single thing you do and having you check in and having you call and report where you are and who you're talking to and what you're talking about, right? Those two things are in discrepancy with each other. They don't add up. The math isn't mathing. It's not working, right? Which means they are giving you the illusion of choice. They are giving you the illusion of autonomy. And every single action that they are lining up is in dissonance with that statement, okay? So remember, if I can normalize that traumatic experience, which is someone honestly, even though it's your partner, they're harassing you, they're calling you every couple of minutes, texting you, checking up on you, maybe they even go so far as to show up at the bar when you're out with your friends, like, that is harassment. And they can sit there and say, no, but I'm your partner and I just care. And it goes, okay, but you can, dress up a skunk. It's still going to stink, right? Like, it's just, you need to see through these things. And they're going to try so hard to normalize it. They're going to try so hard to normalize what they're doing to you. And it's until you can call a spade a spade. Call a spade a spade. What you're doing is hurting. This is absolutely messed up. This is not okay. That is the moment. That is the shift. That is when you start taking the reins back and you can call the trauma. If this resonated, please like, share, and subscribe.